So I met my mother last week, and as usual, she only had one consideration. Shubho, are you happy and are you getting the most out of life? Right? And she's always telling me that she wishes me every success, that she wishes that I have the best opportunities. And I think everyone's mother is pretty much the same, right? They want the best for you, they'd rather that you do really well, and their success lies in your success. Hey folks, I'm Shubho and you're watching The Big Buck Show. It's a show where we tell you how you can start your investment journey and more importantly, how you can turn your small bucks into big bucks. So why am I talking about my mother and your mother? It's because our mothers want what's best for us. And I'm going to talk to you about what's best for you from an investing perspective and how what your mother said matters. Right? You may have ignored her as a teenager, you may ignore her sometimes now, but honestly, her core lessons really matter. And what are they? One is, hey, you should want the best for yourself. I, as your mother, want the best for you. So let me pose some questions. Let's say that you were to buy a car. On one hand, there's a Maruti 800, right? Fantastic manual transmission, amazing car, but doesn't have all the bells and whistles. On the other side, you have an AI-enabled Tesla. Which one do you think your mother would want you to have? My mother would want me to have the Tesla. Why? Because it's advanced, right? It's the latest, it's safer, it really takes care of me as a car. And while the 800 was great when it started, she'd be like, look, you can do better, take the Tesla, right? I think your mother would say the same. Let's take another example. Let's say that you were in the passenger seat of a car and there was an option of having a brand new driver, someone who just got his license 2 days ago, driving the car. And there was the option of having a seasoned driver, right? And you were going on a long drive, let's say to Ladakh, it's dangerous. What do you think your mother would say? No, take the brand new driver, yeah? Take the risk, you never know. It'll be a new experience. No. She'd say, take the seasoned driver and make sure that you are safe. Why do these two examples matter? They matter because in investing, you have to make sure that you have the latest technology behind you. And safety, security, and frugality matter as well. How does that really translate back to investing? So you're thinking, boss, 800, Tesla, driving, like, is this Top Gear? No, this is not, right? So this is the Big Buck Show. So I'll translate it for you. When you start investing, you can invest completely by yourself, or you can invest by yourself but understanding research, analyst recommendation, etc. Or you can have someone do all that for you and essentially consume something that you understand and that's personalized for you. What I'm giving you are the three continuums of investing available. Individual investing, where you're on your own. Investing based on some research, and truly personalized investing where AI or artificial intelligence is essentially working for you in a way that maximizes your ability to get better, higher, safer returns. I have a pretty simple perspective. Don't opt for option 1 and 2. Why? Because option 1 is super hard, so I'd rather work smart than hard. Option 2 is fantastic, but how much time do you have? Do you have enough financial, services background? Do you understand it? So option 3 is key. So you're wondering, well, that's all great to say, but I don't have an AI in my pocket. And that's where you're wrong. You do have an AI in your pocket. This phone is essentially an AI engine. It's got more computing power than hundreds of desktops from the 80s. And increasingly, there are investing apps that are integrating machine learning, machine algorithms that give you the ability to understand what's happening to the stock market in a language that works for you. And we'll cover investment choice, etc. in, again, subsequent episodes of the Big Buck Show. But from a matter of principle, it's pretty important that you say that, hey, I'm going to get all the help I want. Why? because either you're starting the journey or want to accelerate your journey, and you need every advantage you can get. So that's one. The second lesson that's super important is, while my mother always wanted the best for me and still does, she was also a pretty strict disciplinarian. Make sure you do your homework, wake up on time, right? Brush your teeth, which I do twice a day, Mom, so, the lesson worked. What does that mean, right? That means that her lesson of being disciplined applies even today. So this is going back to episode 1, where we talked about, the 4 things you need to do. And the underlying concept was discipline. So your mother's continued focus on discipline in your life matters even today. She was right. And the discipline piece is pretty important, because while you can have AI backing you, that AI won't always be able to pull the trigger on your investing. So I'm coming back to that core lesson, which is discipline is pretty darn important. Again, to remind you, the power of compounding will take a small investment every month and turn it into the equivalent of you winning कौन बनेगा करोड़पति. तो अगर आपको करोड़पति बनना है, आप हर महीने, हर साल invest कीजिए. That's pretty darn important. I spent a fair amount of time in episode 1 talking about discipline, so I brought it back because I think the lesson is super important and bears repeating. Let's go back to the whole concept of help, personalized help, and AI-enabled help. So the way I like to talk about this is a simple phrase. I, as in your mother, I, say, I tak, where the second I is AI. And why does this transition from your mother to AI, your new mother, matter? Because increasingly, the person who will help you with wealth creation, with the right investments, is I that cares, an AI that cares, an AI that understands your personal situation, understands your interests, and really enables you to customize your portfolio and make sure that the discipline you're putting into investing has the maximum impact for you. And this is a super important topic, because increasingly, what people used to do was go to a broker and say, Mukesh bhai, क्या खरीदना है या कहाँ invest करें, or go to a banker and say, अच्छा FD डाल दे. But the reality is, an FD is no longer a tenable asset. It gives you, 5 to 6%, inflation 7%. So when you invest in FD, you're losing money. You're literally losing money. And Mukesh bhai, I love Mukesh bhai, but he doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. Right? He's giving you recommendations to invest in mutual funds with high expense ratios. If you know what an expense ratio is, you know that's bad. If you don't know what an expense ratio is, just imagine, Mukesh bhai never told you about it. An expense ratio is the amount of money that a mutual fund charges to administer the fund. And there are funds that have low expense ratios and high expense ratios. And in today's world, a lot of the recommendations are not made by Mukesh bhai for your interest, but for what earns him the most commission. That's a reality. And so relying on a broker who is not himself necessarily looking out for you, and B, doesn't really have all the information he should have, is problematic. Which is why you're going to have to start relying on someone who's really in your corner. Hence the I say I tak. Continue. So that's super important. So let me again recap a few lessons, right? 1, discipline matters. We spent some time, go back to episode 1, look at that. If you haven't started investing, do. If you already invest, up your investments. And what matters is how you invest. So now we are getting into the how you invest territory. You really have to make sure that you have the best assets and weapons in this war to get the maximum return in your corner. Hey folks, thanks for watching The Big Bucks Show, and tell us how you thought about this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel please, and hit the notification bell so you get a notification next time a video shows up. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We have a Twitter channel, a YouTube channel, and of course also an audio podcast. And hey, continue watching us so that you can turn your small bucks into big bucks.